And see the entropy, the phenomenon of frost, it's only the deeper craters that have whiteness because it's cooler when it's deeper. It's hard to see because it's heating up out here a bit, but if we were here earlier where it was colder, you could see the whiteness is the top of the frost that is layering on top of itself in order to gain more. See, these are higher up, so they have no frost. It's just break in the frost layer to the no frost layer. That is these applications we're about to talk about. Moonlight meltdown. This is when you know it's okay to talk in an area. When they start putting up billboards in a zone, you can stand next to a billboard because they look at you as if you're one. And I'm not saying that to be funny. Bill Gates is putting patents in people. And if you think that's not a thing, if you're more than half of one thing and it's regenerating, you're that thing and not yourself. These things in law, this is a thing in science. They're trying to put science into law and redact computer cryptology out of the civil rights of law and into the federally governed law that isn't adjudicated from things like a citizen. The rest, that would be a person's handbook of civil liberty. I don't have a production crew, nor writers or a director. We're the one person who does it all. And I need to take note that when it's gloomy outside during midday, there isn't a shadow in front of your face by turning the back to the sun. It puts the lotion in the basket. Similarly, in the morning as the sun rises, the lighting is preferable, equal to if there was gloominess all around the sky and absorbing the sun, the gloom glows, allowing from any angle for there not to be a shadow on the front of your face from the sun being behind your back. This morning's half and half, but the case in point is when the sun is rising in the morning, more often than not, even if there isn't gloom, devoid from the midday, it has the same effect of the midday with the sun being risen and there being gloom around. And this is what's so boring. I saw this house in House of the Lambs, and they had where they filmed it there with Jodie Foster, and on the wall was production notes of the stage crew of like when to meet, how to do stuff. If you look at a Hollywood script, I think that there's like one for actors, there's ones for stage crew. You look at the stage crew script, and it is boring AF because it is detailed up the wazoo. That's why on play productions, when they say quiet on set, that's their job security. Anyone starts speaking during the recording after the lighting's been fixed and they've followed all their procedures of the checklist, no one's getting paid on that set unless the actors are at peak performance and it being totally quiet because they always film in studio. I never film in studio, so being quiet on the set, it's just an ambiance that fulfills anything around me. So encouraging excess noise. I've learned to talk next to vehicles. I've learned to talk through wind. And if you don't think these are distortions of sound, it's 10 times more when you're actually in it. Notably so, the water on the concrete with tires is extraordinarily loud when it gets doubled with an engine. When engines get doubled, it's the eeriest thing. When there's like winter snow around, it acts as a stopper for sound, because sound's around so it can't bounce off anything. This is what I was talking about when the entropy of the blade grasses at the top collect snowflakes. So there's only snow at the top layer of the grass and other things like mulch, allowing it for there to be snow not melted because there's less temperature with a lower amount of surface, as opposed to the road where you didn't see any snow because it was all melted because there was nothing holding up the snow. It was just a bottom level. And I think that's why hell is so hot, because there's no snowball's chance in hell. I just killed that part. If you didn't, we'll rewind it back and play it later because it just hit the tonality of an entire vlog. And I keep referencing these vlogs in my catalog, but they're really just notes, so I'm just like circling back on notes for myself. I don't like applications, but the more that you understand, or the more that you know, when computer nomenclature like administrators and apps are applied to in the real world, like the county's administrators, assistants, or appliances, or applying stuff on switch arms. I don't only hold the phone up so long until my blood in my arm drains and it starts hurting with my muscles. But the application is this: when you're got a backpack and it has holes in it, if you put a cloth underneath so it covers the holes, putting stuff on top of the cloth is even better to not get the holes expanded, to bust the seams. Even though it's more weight, it is an appliance that's applied on to act more as a doubling effect, like with the engines and sound when the tires have rain on, slapping and rotation. It puts the lotion in the basket. No, but there's that, and then the appliances, the second, and this is, if you get 1 and 2, you get everything. The appliances, switch arms, I gotta switch legs. Do not have pedals ram me in the shin. Makeup artist is like, wipe your nose. I've got it, Sue. There's appliances, apps, and then the other thing would be, of course, I don't know what to call it, but it's where when you have more weight on things, it actually makes it easier to pull correctly or push or just move in general. When it's lighter weight, there's a certain threshold, and it's by person to person, until you find just the right fit where if the shoe fits, kick it off. This faction is where, like, you don't want the shoe fitting your foot exactly, or else it'll get blisters when you start moving. But if you get just enough movement with like the weight, if it's heavy enough, you'll be able to pull it or push it, do anything with it, and you'll actually find just a little more extra weight than what you're used to allows you to have that much better, more of a motion. Not emotion, but of a motion. Because it is aligned right, as opposed to it's less weight and more easier to overcompensate with your other muscle groups and pull it in an off direction, especially if your muscle alignment is off or your frame has been broken with a broken collarbone that's 2 inches off. So it's always a 2-inch difference at any cost. Scrap the default. So adding an extra cloth and an appliance to a hole allows for excess weight on top to not move through the hole, And adding a little extra weight from a minimal, lesser weight usually allows a better, what's the word? Choreograph. It has everything to do with the, when you're coordinated. Adding a little more weight allows better coordination. Meaning where it's the lesser of the weight, if you're usually doing that, you won't have this phenomenon unless you put on just a little more excess, add excess. So apps and adding excess. Excess in computer nomenclature are plugins. So I don't like apps, and plugins are always wonky. When something's bad, it's always these things that are needing to be called upon. And that's another computer nomenclature, calling upon stuff, and in real life calling upon. So calling upon plugins and apps are how to do it.